Joining me now is Forbes contributor Joanne Shurvell. Joanne, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Brittany. It's great to be here.
I'm very excited to talk to you. Right now, you are in London ahead of King Charles III's coronation, and you're going to tell us all the hot spots there where you can eat and drink like a king. But before that, can you give us a sense of what you're feeling on the ground? Are people excited? What is the sense in London?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I think feelings are a bit mixed about the monarchy, which I'm sure you've read about and know, especially among the younger people. But everybody's looking forward to having the extra day off. Monday's a holiday, so that's definitely a bonus. But the cost of living crisis here is quite bad. So people are worried about the extravagance, the cost of the coronation. But saying all that, it does provide a momentary escape. And I think people are quite excited at such a historic event. It's been 70 years since the last coronation.
The last coronation was in 1953 when Queen Elizabeth was crowned. So how is the city preparing for the big celebrations ahead?
Well, we're expecting a lot of visitors, probably about 1 million visitors are expected this weekend. And a lot of them are coming from the US. Apparently, according to Visit Britain, US bookings are up 10% since May of 2019 before the pandemic. So we have to be prepared. There's tons to do, lots of decorations, street parties, festivities everywhere. And one of the really cool things is there are rows of Union Jacks flying over a lot of the streets, like Bond Street, Regent Street, and Oxford Street. Those are really impressive ones. There's floral arrangements, coronation-themed food and drinks, as you already said, in all the restaurants and bars. It's going to be really crowded on the streets on the actual day of the coronation on Saturday. So they've got great big huge screens that have been erected in parks and squares. So if you can't actually see the carriage on the street, you'll be able to see it from a big screen in one of the parks. And there's also going to be a fly pass of 60 military jets. So everybody should be able to see that. That'll be after the coronation has happened. And kind of a fun thing is there'll be various thrones dotted around the city, which you can sit on and take your pictures. There's one of the pods in the London Eye has a replica of the 700-year-old coronation throne, and there's a floral covered throne in Grosvenor Square as well.
Joanne, as an American, the last time I remember celebrations this big in the UK were the royal weddings of Kate Middleton as well as Meghan Markle. Is this a bigger deal? Is there more pomp and circumstance in the coronation?
Yeah, I'd say for sure there's more pomp and circumstance. It's a really historic event. It's been 70 years since the Queen's coronation in 1953. This is, of historical significance. I don't know if you'd say the same thing about the weddings in terms of how people feel about it. Maybe younger people enjoyed the weddings more than they'd enjoy this, but I think this is the more important event.
I do want to talk about right now where you're sitting, and you're sitting in the historic Goring Hotel. And the room that you're sitting in has some history too. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, actually, it's where Winston Churchill held meetings with all the heads of state during the Second World War. So yes, it's very historic. The hotel is historic. It's been here since 1910. It's owned by the same family that opened it in 1910, and every monarch has been through the door of the hotel. And specifically related to Charles, in 1948, the Goring pastry chefs baked a cake for his christening, and he also had his 60th birthday celebrations here, and all the crowned heads of Europe had lunch at the Goring.
So the ties here between King Charles and the hotel date close back to 75 years, but you write for Forbes that the hotel is the only hotel to have a royal warrant. Can you explain what that means?
Yes, the royal warrant is what allows businesses to trade with the royal household and to use the royal coat of arms on their products. And yeah, the Goring is the only hospitality outlet that has that.
And how is the Goring celebrating this weekend?
The coronation menu at the Goring has organic new season lamb with asparagus and coddled Clarence court eggs. Not quite sure what that's going to look like, but apparently that's His Majesty's favorite dish.
Sounds like an interesting entree for sure.